Welcome, everybody. For those of you just joining, I'm Becky Gable. For those that I haven't met yet, I'm the events manager on the ISONG staff. And today we are talking about some exciting things, our nursing research grant program. So we will go ahead and get started here. If you have any questions, I think you can put it in our Q&A. But we'll go through our PowerPoint and I'll switch over and let folks introduce themselves.
All right, well, thank you, Becky, and thanks everyone for joining. My name is Son Yun Chung. I am currently at University of Wisconsin in Oshkosh, and I am the co-chair for ISONG's research committee. And I'll hand it over to Alex.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Nowak, and I'm an assistant professor at Loyola University in Chicago. And I am also the co-chair of the other co-chair of the research committee. So thanks for joining us today.
Great. Becky, would you like us to go ahead and get started?
Yeah.
Sounds great. I'm just realizing I have my slides up on the second screen, so I'll be looking this way. And this is the screen I'm sharing with everyone right now, so please excuse me for looking away. That's where the actual slides are. So thanks again for joining us. The purpose of this webinar is to really share and give an overview of the ISONG Nursing Research Grant program, and we'll talk a little bit about the applications and the review processes and what the dates and timelines are for 2025. So that will be the information we'll be sharing, and then when we have time at the end, we might take some Q&A and go from there. And as Becky mentioned, the recording will be available on the website after the whole session is over. So the purpose of this research grant award is really to support research, and obviously it's related to the mission of ISONG, which is to promote genetic genomic nursing practice and for the development of genetic genomic nursing science. So that's the purpose of this research grant. So the funding is really meant to be more like a seed money for conducting a pilot study or to support an ongoing research investigation that will really contribute to, again, the genetic and genomic nursing science, which is the mission of ISONG to promote that. And so this is a competitive award that, and the awardee will be determined after going through a peer review of all the proposals by the members of the ISONG Research Committee, and I'll be sharing who those research committee members are, and we'll talk a little bit more about how it's actually going to be reviewed. But at the end of the day, the scientific merit of the grant application is the primary criterion for funding decisions. So moving on to the next slide, the eligibility. So in order for you to be eligible for this grant, you have to be a current member of ISONG. And if you have already received a federal funding or foundation funding that is more than $50,000, then you will not be eligible for this seed funding. And that is if you are the PI submitting the grant. If you have received more than 50,000 in funding, federal or foundation as a PI, then you wouldn't be eligible for this grant. If you have a mentor, if your faculty have received this big federal awards, then that is okay because the faculty, your mentor is not the PI, you are the PI. If you have training grants like F31, F32, or KO awards, then that is okay. You are still eligible to apply for the program. Becky, did you want to share something? I saw you unmute.
No, I don't know. I was trying to get rid of this sidebar here, but cannot figure that out. So
Okay.
That's okay.
sorry about that.
No
I'll
worries.
just hit close.
Okay. So then, in terms of timeline, so today is May 8th. And so you will have about 2 full weeks to write the letter of intent. The letter of intent is due May 26th on a Monday at the end of the day, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. And the letter of intent is not meant to be judged or scored, so to speak. It's just meant for the review committee to get ourselves ready to gather reviewers for the grants, and we want to make sure those who are reviewing the grant has expertise in that area. So it's really the letter of intent that you submit is really for the research committee to know how many grants we're receiving, what topic would that be about, and in what area that would be, so that we can prepare ourselves and make sure we have enough reviewers to review all the grants. That's what the purpose of the letter of intent is, and I will share what goes into the letter of intent and how you submit it and where you get that information here in a bit. The actual grant proposal itself, that is due at the end of June. So you will have, and you don't have to wait until you hear back from the research committee. You're not necessarily going to hear back from the research committee about the letter of intent, because again, it's not meant to be determining who will be eligible to move forward to the grant proposal. It's just meant for the reviewers to get ourselves ready. So as soon as you have the letter of intent submitted, you can move forward with getting your grant proposal written and ready. So you can have up to 1.5 months to get your proposal ready and submit it by June 30th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And then once all the applications are in, at the end of June, that's when the review committee will be reviewing the grants in July, primarily July, and maybe a little bit into August, and everyone will be hearing back about the results late August of this year, 2025. So at this time, I will share with you let me see, are you seeing my web page now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our ISONG website. If you go to your ISONG, you can Google ISONG, you can go to isong.org. Once you get there, you can go to the research tab. If you look under the research tab, you will be able to find this research grant program. And if you click research grant program, you'll be able to see more information about the research grant awards. The informational webinar is what we're having right now. There's more details about the grant application instructions, and there's a little more information about the letter of intent and proposal requirements down here. Again, the grant itself is due June 30th, but the letter of intent is due May 26th. So those information that we just reviewed are all on the website. If you look at the instructions, if you click the instructions, a Word document will open up for you. And that Word document will look something like this. Let's see here. Are you now seeing my Word document? Perfect. So this is the link out to the link that we just saw. It links you to this Word document. Again, it talks about when the letter is due and when the grant is due and what goes into the different components. This has a little more information about the actual grant proposal, what goes into that. You would have to submit this grant cover form, which I'll show you in a minute. So there's a cover form, and then you will be attaching a PDF that includes the actual description of your project, which includes abstract, narrative of your proposal, including problem statements, specific aims, background significance, research design, and methods. And this should all be about 4 pages. And then beyond that, you can submit references, appendices, bio sketch. All of that doesn't count towards the page limit, but those are the pieces that goes into your actual meat of your proposal. And then there is the budget justification part that is a separate form. So really, you'll be submitting the cover form. This is where you can upload the actual bulk of the proposal. And then there's another place where you submit the budget side. So I'll show that to you here in a minute. And there's a little more information about the actual formatting, the margins, the font size, and so on and so forth here, as well as the role of the PI. which if the awardee will communicate with the awardee to talk more about responsibilities and remind the PI about the responsibilities. But just so you know, there as a PI, if you get the award, you will be responsible for providing update every 3 months, updated 3 months, and sending a final report, which I'll again show you on the website. So if we go back to the website, if this is where you submit the letter of intent, right? So if you click the letter of intent submission, it will bring you to this site where you put your name and attach the letter of intent. So it's a very simple process. And what goes into the letter of intent, sorry to be clicking around. If you click on the letter of intent and proposal requirements, that will bring you to this PDF, which will again have some of the information that we already reviewed as far as what goes into the actual proposal. But there's also information about the letter of intent itself. It's meant to be a 1-page as an MS Word or PDF. You really just have to state the title and a 1-paragraph description of what you are trying to do, again, so that we can determine what the project is about, so that we can find an expert in that field to review your grant. And then where this research will be taking place. So that's what the letter of intent entails. And this information, again, will help us call for reviewers. So that, again, goes here. You can write your name, attach the letter of intent here. And then when it comes to the actual grant, there's a cover sheet, there's the budget form. So if you click on the cover sheet submission form, that will bring you to this page. Research grant proposal cover sheet. So this is more about, who the PI is and, where they're at, how we get in touch with the PI, do you have other grants? Did you already receive a grant? And so information like that, some basic information, and then the actual proposal itself will be uploaded here. And we did review what goes into the proposal itself, right? The abstract and the methods and the research and methods and biosketch and all of that will be submitted here. And then the budget part was separate. So grant budget justification submission form, if you click this part, then it will bring you to this page. Then you can make sure you write your name and email and verify if this is meant to be a 1-year project or a 2-year project, what the amount that you're requesting for various pieces or various aspects of your proposal, and what the total amount is. And then just to remind you, the cap for the award is $2,000. So you can share what amount you're requesting, and then the justification can go here. So that's where the budget piece goes. So that's really it in terms of the letter of intent that is due at the end of May. The actual grant submission that is due at the end of June, that's really it. This research grant final report is for the awardees at the end of their award period. That's when the final report can be submitted at that time. So those are the pieces. So going back to the slides, we did review the letter of intent, we did review the grant proposal, and then once that is all submitted, the research committee will be reviewing and notifying the awardees. So these are the research committee members. And again, based on the letter of intent that we receive, we'll make sure the ones with the expertise will be reviewing the proposal. And there will be two people reviewing each proposal. There will be a primary reviewer and a secondary reviewer. And the reviewers will be getting their assignment of the proposal to review, which one they're primary reviewer for, which ones they're secondary reviewers for, and then they'll use the NIH reviewer comment scoring form to score all of the proposals. And they will be completing the scoring, and then it will come together as a committee. All the reviewers will come together to review all of the grants together. And so I will at this time hand it over to Alex, who will be talking a little more about what actually goes in during the meeting.
Hi, thank you. So the review meeting is going to be held on July 24th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's our regular bi-monthly meeting time for the research committee. And only reviewers attend that July 24th, 25th meeting. And so during the meeting, the reviewers present the strengths and weaknesses of the proposal and their preliminary scores. And, the second reviewer comes in with what they agree with, what they disagree with, and so on. They discuss the scientific and technical merit. And then the rest of the reviewers provide their scores to the co-chairs using the chat on Zoom. I'm sorry, we usually can't see who sends in their score. We just get all the scores and then we add them together and look at all of those things at once. So compile the final scores to determine who's the top score for one winner. And I think we had a question as to how many projects would be supported. Do we have an answer for that?
Yes, Morgan did clarify we will be awarding one award this
Just one.
time for
Okay.
2025. And sorry for the typo, it's meant to be July 24th.
24th, yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay, 24th, I think. Yeah, so July 24th is when the reviewers review and then they get to the final scores. And yes, you're welcome. Okay, do you want to stop sharing so I can pull up the other screen? Thank you so much. I want to show you the reviewer scoring form so that you have an idea of what the reviewers do when they are putting together the form and how they do the scores. So this is very similar to the NIH review criteria. So this is the criteria that the reviewers use. So looking at, if you look down, you're seeing this, right? Yes, thank you. So you're looking first really at significance, and you can see in the gray box, it describes exactly what is meant by significance and, how the reviewers think about that. Does it address an important problem or critical barrier? If the aims are achieved, how will knowledge and technical capability or clinical practice be improved? And then how will successful completion of the aims change concepts, methods, etc. So those are scored, and I'll show you in a minute the scoring process. And then the reviewer will write in here the strengths and weaknesses, usually using a small paragraph or bullet points or something where they're describing what they believe are strengths and weaknesses. The same thing as we move down to number 2, we have the investigators. So we're looking at the PI, the collaborators, all of the other researchers, and whether everything is appropriate. So, is the investigator appropriate for what they're doing? How are their supporters? How is their support? Can everything be accomplished with the place at which they're conducting their research, and so on? Do they have complementary and integrated expertise? So you can see all of these things, and that's what they look at. And then again, they put down their strengths and weaknesses. The third category is innovation. So is this an innovative project? Does it seek to shift the current research by utilizing something novel? So it's really looking at the novelty. What's new? What's different? How will this move research forward in an innovative way? And then finally, the approach, the strategy, the methodology. Is it well reasoned? Can you accomplish the aims of the projects with the approach? So what are the plans also for human subjects research, inclusion of minorities, and so on? And you can see down here a little bit farther where we're looking at protection. Are there appropriate protections for human subjects and or vertebrate animals if animals are being used, right? And then finally, the budget. Do the reviewers recommend that the budget is adopted as requested, or should there be some modifications to the budget? And here is the score criteria. So this is really how they score between 1 and 9. 1 is a high impact or exceptional. It's extremely strong. It really has no weaknesses at all the way down through number 9, which is very poor. It has a lot of weaknesses and a lot of problems, and that really lessens the impact. So that's the final impact score. Let me scroll back up to the top. So after completing all those sections 1 through 4, they enter their overall impact. They can look at a preliminary score, and then after all of the discussions and both of the reviewers coming together, then they will enter their final score, and then those final scores all go up for review to determine the top scorer and the person who will receive the grant funding. Okay, I think that's it for that. I'll stop sharing so share and see if we have any types of questions to answer.
Yes, so we do. Can we apply with secondary data proposal or must be pilot or new data collection?
So Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe the types of study or the design note was a determining factor. It goes back to, regardless of secondary or primary, what is the significance and the innovation, and going off of that criteria that we just reviewed. So if you are thinking about secondary data analysis, you are welcome to submit your project.
Yes, absolutely.
Another question, just to confirm, the maximum amount is $2,000.
Correct. The max amount is 2,000.
Perfect. Are there any other questions or comments?
Here, just confirming, in the requirements, completed budget justification form, budget cannot exceed $2,000. Yeah.
Perfect. And to my understanding, because we did this last year, we will probably announce the winner as well at the conference in Montreal. So save the date for that as well.
Any more questions?
Should the applicant be an ISONG member for a certain amount of time?
Not the amount of time, but you do have to be active ISONG member. Yeah.
Active means just that you're a member. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else? Don't see any other questions on the Q&A or the chat. So like I mentioned, everything's on our website. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email us. You can email me at events@isong.org, and I can get you in touch with our co-chairs. And a question came, can you share the slides with us?
It could be attached to the recording where the recording is uploaded, Becky.
Okay.
Or, yeah. And I don't know if that capability is available, but I mean, the slides can be made available. The logistics, I'm not sure how we can make that work.
Yes, if I can't do it with the recording, I will definitely send those out as I have all the email addresses.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. I think that does it. We will be in touch with the slides and putting the recording on our website for others to view in case you have other questions or want to send to different colleagues. That will be on there. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.